At last, King Charles strikes back, with undeniable proof revealing Archie and Lilibet's true identities. The evidence is out, completely dismantling Meghan and Harry's claims once and for all. Could this be the biggest counterattack yet in the royal feud? Let's dive in and find out in today's video. What's your take on the latest royal drama? Do you believe Meghan's claims about Archie and Lilibet? If you do, drop a 1 in the comments. If not, leave a 0. Stick around to watch the video and uncover the shocking truth King Charles just revealed. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to support the channel. Tonight, behind the closed doors of Kensington Palace, a DNA revelation has come to light that challenges the very bloodline of the British monarchy. The results show that Archie Harrison and Lilibet Diana share no genetic link to the Windsor family, not even to Prince Harry himself. This stunning disclosure threatens to upend decades of royal tradition, casting serious doubt on their claims to royal titles and succession rights. The shockwaves from this revelation ripple not only through the royal family but also across the public at large. It all began in silence. A single document, stamped with the Kensington Palace seal, was quietly leaked to a trusted royal journalist, without any fanfare, press conference, or official comment. In the margin, 5 chilling words were scrawled: "No Windsor blood detected." This revelation ignited a fierce debate over the legitimacy of royal claims, plunging everyone into a search for a truth that had long been hidden. For years, rumors had simmered in the shadows. Whispers gradually turned into tabloid headlines, conspiracies flourished on forums, and buzzed relentlessly across social media. But this was different. This was hard evidence. Cold, clinical proof that threatened to unravel the very foundation of the royal lineage. From the moment Prince Harry and Meghan Markle announced the birth of their son, Archie Harrison Mountbatten, the public had sensed the unusual absence of the customary royal rituals. There were no public steps on the hospital stairs, no detailed medical updates, no official doctor's reports, and most strikingly, no verifiable evidence of a living baby. In the critical weeks that followed the birth of their daughter, Lilibet Diana, similar doubts surfaced. Fans were shown carefully staged photos, backlit images, and a Netflix documentary. Yet full transparency was never truly offered. At first, only a small, discerning few voiced doubts, but now it has been confirmed as undeniable truth. Archie and Lilibet have no biological connection to the Windsor family. This revelation goes beyond biology. It strikes at the heart of succession, national identity, and the very sanctity of truth within a monarchy that has endured wars, scandals, and even assassinations. When Meghan Markle and Prince Harry stepped down from their royal duties, the royal family continued to reference their children with respectful titles, despite the lack of verified genetic ties. In quiet response, Kensington Palace began to push back. The DNA reports were never meant for public release. They were part of a confidential internal review concerning the official line of succession, a matter growing increasingly sensitive as King Charles's reign faces mounting pressure and scrutiny. The report was conducted by forensic experts under the Royal Protocol Office, an elite internal unit responsible for overseeing the monarchy's most sensitive legal and constitutional matters. What they uncovered left no room for interpretation. DNA samples from both children revealed no chromosomal link to Prince Harry or any member of the Windsor lineage, past or present. Genetically, this means Archie Harrison and Lilibet Diana are not Windsors and, as a result, are not eligible to inherit the royal throne or even to bear the Windsor surname. This is a bombshell that changes everything, not just for the Sussexes, but for the future of the entire British monarchy. The palace is reportedly preparing a series of calculated responses to manage the fallout. But before we decode the silent fury behind Kensington's quiet counterattack, we must go back to where it all began. The subtle evasions, the hospital mysteries, and the overlooked contradictions paint a very different picture. A story far removed from the one the public was led to believe. Archie Harrison, the son of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, was born as the first mixed-race child in the modern British royal family, an undeniably historic moment. Yet, the usual royal procedures surrounding a royal birth were quietly bypassed. While Kate Middleton had proudly appeared on the hospital steps with each of her children, Meghan chose complete privacy. No doctors were publicly named, no nurses interviewed, and no unofficial footage ever surfaced. A brief palace statement announced Meghan had gone into labor, and just a few hours later, the birth of Archie was confirmed. Even seasoned royal reporters admitted that something didn't quite add up. It remained unclear whether the birth had taken place at a hospital or at the couple's private residence. The palace announced Meghan was in labor only after the baby had already been born, a move that initially seemed like a modern, privacy-driven parenting choice. However, in light of the recent DNA revelations, the timeline now appears less like a personal preference and more like a carefully orchestrated decision. The birth of Lilibet Diana followed a strikingly similar pattern. No official hospital was named, no medical staff were recorded, and the California birth announcement lacked any publicly verifiable certification. Once again, privacy was cited as the reason for these departures from royal tradition. Yet in a family where public duty begins the moment a child is born, such omissions were seen not just as acts of defiance, but as deeply suspicious. The British public has long been divided over the Sussexes' decision to step away from royal life. To some, it was a justified escape from relentless scrutiny. To others, it seemed like a calculated move to profit from the royal brand without fulfilling its duties. But with these new revelations, the stakes have shifted dramatically. This is no longer a debate about lifestyle choices or media narratives. It now strikes at the very core of the monarchy's integrity. Kensington Palace is believed to have chosen to release the DNA test results, not out of vengeance, but as a constitutional imperative. At this level, DNA verification goes beyond biological truth. It directly impacts succession rights, access to royal assets, and the future legitimacy of the monarchy itself. Supporters of the palace are now calling on King Charles and Prince William to act decisively to safeguard both the historical legacy and the future bloodline of the royal family. Meghan Markle is said to have been informed before the news broke to royal reporters. Her reaction was reportedly one of anger and defiance, with threats of legal action looming. Meanwhile, sources describe Prince Harry as emotionally stunned and unusually quiet. Since the DNA leak surfaced, he has made no public comments. These unfolding events raise profound questions about the future of the British monarchy. Will royal titles be revoked? Could Parliament step in to enact laws formalizing succession based strictly on DNA verification? And will Harry and Meghan be compelled to publicly renounce their children's claims to royal status? For now, these questions remain unanswered, leaving the world awaiting the royal family's next move. The British monarchy has weathered countless scandals over the years, from affairs and financial controversies to abdications. Yet, never before has its very bloodline and the future of the institution itself been called into question like this. And if palace insiders are to be believed, Kensington Palace is far from finished. This, they say, is only the opening act of a far-reaching effort to uncover what one royal insider has described as the greatest deception ever perpetrated within the palace walls. The British monarchy has always rested on a single, unshakable foundation, the royal bloodline. Unlike elected offices or political positions, power in the monarchy is inherited, with lineage serving as the ultimate proof of legitimacy. Every sovereign who ascends the throne must possess unquestionable royal blood, making any doubt about a royal heir's biological connection far more than a private matter. This is not merely a family scandal. It is a profound constitutional crisis. To grasp the full weight of this DNA revelation, we must turn to the history of the monarchy. When William the Conqueror claimed the English throne in 1066, he established a crucial precedent. Succession had to be secured through conquest or legitimate inheritance. Even today, within a modern democratic society, royal succession remains the cornerstone that justifies the very existence of the monarchy. That is why bloodline, rather than virtues or leadership qualities, remains the paramount criterion for maintaining the British crown. The royal family's lineage stretches back nearly a millennium, meticulously documented and verified by experts and historians alike. Every royal birth is not only celebrated but also officially recorded, with clear birth dates, witnesses, and full transparency. Nothing is left to chance. Everything must be indisputable. Ownership, responsibilities, and roles within the royal family all hinge on one fundamental assumption: that an heir is genuinely who they claim to be. The lack of transparency surrounding the births of Archie Harrison and Lilibet Diana has therefore raised serious concerns within the palace. While the public may debate Meghan's choice for privacy, legal advisors are growing increasingly uneasy. This marks an unprecedented situation in recent royal history. Family members have never before failed to provide official documentation verifying their children's birth details. Throughout history, royal marriages have rarely been just about love. They were strategic alliances, crafted to strengthen and preserve the royal bloodline. Even in modern times, the marriage of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, often celebrated as a love story, was, at its core, a union between distant relatives sharing royal lineage. This connection was viewed as vital to safeguarding the integrity of the monarchy. This is why the British royal family has steadfastly resisted reforms to the succession system. While many constitutional monarchies across Europe have modernized their rules, the UK remains firm. Royal bloodline is the immutable foundation of succession. Though largely ceremonial, the British monarchy is deeply anchored in both law and symbolism. To ensure its continuity, biological legitimacy must be absolutely safeguarded. When doubts arise about a royal heir's lineage, the very foundation of the monarchy becomes precarious. The revelation that Archie and Lilibet share no DNA with the Windsor family presents a significant challenge, not only to the Sussexes but also to the constitutional framework of the United Kingdom. Despite not being granted HRH titles at birth, their names have long appeared in the official line of succession, with the expectation they could inherit these honors under King Charles's reign. The line of succession is more than just symbolism. It guides critical decisions during times of crisis. For example, if all direct heirs were lost in a catastrophic event, the established order would determine the next monarch. Therefore, absolute clarity and transparency in succession are essential. Fabrications or undocumented claims must never cloud this order. For Meghan and Harry, placing children without a biological connection to the royal family into the line of succession raises serious ethical concerns and risks constituting a constitutional deception. Some royal historians have noted parallels between this situation and past scandals involving royal legitimacy. For example, in the 15th century, Princes Edward V and Richard faced rumors of being murdered by their uncle, Richard III, amid questions about their right to the throne. More recently, in the 20th century, speculation swirled around the paternity of Prince Albert Victor, Duke of Clarence. Yet, never before in modern history has the monarchy confronted a case where children publicly acknowledged as heirs might lack any biological connection to the royal bloodline. A former royal historian revealed that the palace had long been aware of the inconsistencies surrounding Meghan's pregnancies but hesitated to intervene, fearing political backlash, accusations of racism, and allegations of bullying. This prolonged silence allowed the situation to spiral beyond control. Now, for the first time, the monarchy confronts a challenge never before publicly questioned, one that can only be resolved by bringing scientific truth into the spotlight. Royal blood holds significance not only in determining succession but also in forging a deep connection between the crown and the people of Britain. When the nation embraces a monarch, it is with the understanding that this individual represents the living symbol of the country's heritage and identity. If the monarch's heirs are not genuinely their own, the public may feel betrayed, as if their loyalty has been pledged to a mere illusion. Such a breach not only tarnishes the royal family's reputation but also undermines the essential trust and bond between the sovereign and the people. Within certain royalist circles, the current debate goes beyond Meghan's actions to focus on the system's failure to detect and prevent this deception. These questions are no longer hypothetical. They've become urgent issues. Should DNA testing be mandatory for future royal heirs? What were once mere assumptions have now turned into real challenges that demand immediate attention. The British public partially funds the royal family through the sovereign grant, which comes from the Crown estate. This funding covers costs like security, housing, travel, and education for senior members of the royal family. In the past, this support was also extended to the Sussexes and their children. If those children never had a legitimate biological claim to royal titles, the potential misuse of public funds could quickly become a pressing issue that demands attention. Seriously, what do you all think about British taxpayers footing the bill for the royal family, including the Sussexes, through the sovereign grant? If Archie and Lilibet don't have a biological claim to royal titles, could this mean public funds have been misused? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is this something that needs to be addressed ASAP? And don't forget to hit that like button and share this video if you want more deep dives into royal drama. Stay tuned for even more shocking details. The confirmation that Archie and Lilibet do not share DNA with the Windsor lineage has not only caused a public relations shock, but also sparked a potential legal and political backlash. This could lead to the revocation of their titles, changes to the line of succession, and even demands for the Sussexes to publicly correct their records. Increasingly, constitutional experts agree that Parliament may need to step in and pass a law requiring DNA verification for heirs in the line of succession. If enacted, this would be the first time in modern British history that scientific evidence is mandated in royal succession. However, the most significant issue isn't just the legal or political fallout. It's the public's perception. The monarchy relies on the trust of the people, and its power endures only as long as that trust remains intact. When that trust is broken, when titles are exploited and truths hidden, the entire institution risks slipping into irrelevance. If Kensington fails to act and lets these wrongdoings become permanent, the consequences could be irreversible. The royal bloodline isn't important because of superstition or tradition, but because it's the key factor that sets the monarchy apart from a mere spectacle. It's what gives weight to the crown, meaning to the lineage, and structure to a nation still deeply tied to its symbolic heritage. Now that the truth has come to light, it's time for action. What happens next? How Parliament, the palace, and the people respond will determine whether the monarchy emerges stronger or faces unprecedented dissolution. From the outside, Harry and Meghan's story looks like a modern royal fairy tale. A young prince once seen as the backup finds love across the Atlantic with an American actress who brings diversity and a fresh, contemporary vibe to the royal family. But beneath the glamorous public narrative, a darker undercurrent starts to surface. The gaps, the flaws, and the moments that don't quite add up begin to show. While the media spins the story tightly, those paying close attention can spot the unsettling signs. The first seeds of doubt about Archie Harrison's birth were planted not on the day he was born, but on the day the announcement was made. On May 6, 2019, the palace announced that Meghan Markle had gone into labor. Yet, just hours later, another announcement revealed that the baby had actually been born early that morning. This discrepancy caught people's attention. Why announce labor without immediately sharing news of the birth? An event typically announced as soon as it happens. The delay raised questions about why information about the royal birth was withheld at a moment that should have been shared right away. Traditionally, the birth of a royal child follows a strict protocol. At least one certified royal doctor, whose identity is known, signs off on the birth, with a group of witnesses present. In the past, royal family members gave birth in public hospitals where cameras were ready and press releases were issued almost in real time. But with Archie, things were different. No specific hospital was named, no birth certificate was immediately released, and no doctor's identity was made public. This was justified by the Sussexes' claim to privacy, something many accepted. However, privacy within the royal family is rarely absolute, especially when it concerns the birth of a royal heir. Another striking detail is the absence of the iconic photo outside the Lindo wing. For decades, royal mothers have proudly smiled and held their newborns for the world to see. Princess Diana did it, and Kate Middleton has done it 3 times. This wasn't just tradition, it was a powerful symbol to the public, a living embodiment of continuity, the next chapter in a lineage supported by the nation. Meghan completely declined to share key moments of her childbirth publicly. Instead, a carefully staged photo was released days later, not at the hospital, but in a controlled setting at Windsor Castle. In the image, Meghan and Harry stand smiling beside their newborn, who is tightly swaddled in a blanket with most of the baby's face covered. What stood out was that it was Prince Harry, not Meghan. Holding the child, Meghan barely touched the baby. This quickly raised questions. Why was the baby so tightly wrapped if it had been born days earlier? Why wasn't the mother holding her child? Where were the usual signs of post-birth exhaustion or recovery? Critics were quickly dismissed as conspiracy theorists, but some voices within the media and royal circles saw these concerns as having practical merit. As the months went by, the public started noticing other oddities. Meghan and Harry occasionally appeared in public with their children, but these moments were rare and often staged in unusual ways. Photos showed the baby being held at awkward angles or completely covered with hats and blankets, even during summer outings. At one polo match, Meghan appeared stiff and awkward, her posture tense and her arms seeming unfamiliar with the baby's weight. The press chalked it up to clumsy parenting, but others suspected something was off. Online communities began scrutinizing every photo and video of the Sussex family. They spotted inconsistencies, from the shape of the baby's head varying between shots to differences in hair color and ear shape. One comparison showed Archie with lighter skin and straight hair in one photo, but darker skin and curly hair in another. Critics argued it was just lighting or natural changes, but some believed something more was being concealed. Speculation continued to mount with reports suggesting that Meghan used a prosthetic bump during parts of her pregnancy. Some videos circulated showing her belly folding unnaturally when she sat down. This sparked a wave of online debate. Was it just the effect of soft maternity clothes? Or was it proof that she was never actually pregnant? The palace declined to comment, dismissing the theories as absurd, but their silence only fueled the rumors, making the questions grow louder. In June 2021, after Harry and Meghan had fully stepped back from official royal duties and settled in California, the announcement of Lilibet Diana's birth was even more vague than Archie's. No hospital was named, no birth time was given, and no birth certificates were publicly released. The couple issued a brief statement confirming her name and birth date, noting that both mother and child were healthy. But once again, official photos of the newborn were absent. In the following weeks, no authentic images of Lilibet were shared. Months later, the Sussexes released a holiday card at the end of 2021, featuring what they claimed was Lilibet's first photo. However, upon closer inspection, many noticed inconsistencies. The child appeared unnaturally still, and her features seemed digitally altered. A digital forensics expert suggested the image might have been heavily edited, or even generated by AI. While this has never been definitively proven, public suspicion was clear. A pattern had emerged. Meghan and Harry had carefully crafted a visual narrative of their family without providing enough concrete evidence. Unfiltered, spontaneous moments have revealed that these children are not truly integrated into royal life. While William and Kate's children have regularly participated in high-profile public events, such as Trooping the Color, official family portraits, and other royal engagements from a young age, Archie and Lilibet have been conspicuously absent. Even during Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee, when many expected Meghan and Harry to introduce their family to the public, the children remained out of sight. Only vague statements were issued, with no images or public videos shared. What many hoped would clear up the speculation was the Netflix documentary series, where Meghan and Harry could share genuine, intimate family moments. Instead, viewers were presented with a carefully staged production featuring distant shots, blurred backgrounds, and voices without faces. In one scene, Archie can be heard speaking, but his face is never shown. Lilibet appears only briefly, with her face partially turned away or lit from behind. There were no candid moments of diaper changes, playtime, or bath time, moments that could have helped convince the public this was a thriving royal family. Instead, the series lacked the transparency many expected. While the public has been left without transparency, growing concerns within the royal household have begun to surface. According to multiple sources, staff at Kensington Palace were quietly instructed to compile a detailed timeline of events related to both children, including private travel records, medical reports, and correspondence between staff and the Sussexes. The goal was not to fuel conspiracy theories, but to prepare for any potential legal or constitutional challenges that might arise. A significant shift occurred in early 2024 when an anonymous whistleblower, believed to be a former medical advisor to the Sussex family, came forward with documents and testimony. These materials claimed that no official births took place under medical supervision for either child, neither in California nor the UK. Furthermore, it was reported that a high-level confidentiality agreement had been signed with a surrogate who had been in hiding since 2019. While her identity and role remained closely guarded, details about her began to surface through palace sources. According to these revelations, Meghan did not carry Archie, and possibly not Lilibet either. As the story surrounding the Sussex children's births grew increasingly murky, the palace took discreet action. A forensic genetics firm was hired to collect samples from Archie and Lilibet and compare them against known genetic material from the Windsor bloodline. The results confirmed no biological connection to the royal family. While the public remains unaware of how these samples were obtained, the silence on the matter has only deepened suspicion. The issue was evident from the very first moments Archie and Lilibet were introduced to the world. Something felt off, and now we know why. Secret DNA testing quietly uncovered the truth, carried out without any official announcement or public inquiry. Instead, a discreet directive from Kensington Palace sought to answer a question the monarchy had wrestled with for years. Are Archie Harrison and Lilibet Diana truly part of the royal bloodline? Requiring a DNA test isn't just a straightforward legal step. It's a profound statement of doubt and a breakdown of trust. In the royal world, asking for DNA evidence signals that something is seriously wrong. It reveals that trust has been broken so deeply that only cold, scientific proof can begin to restore it. The push for DNA testing wasn't an abrupt reaction, but a slow, cautious process carried out after years of observation and careful consideration. Senior officials within the royal family noticed irregularities surrounding the births of Archie and Lilibet, including a lack of transparency in documentation, inconsistencies in released photos, their absence from public events, and, most notably, strategic delays in legal registration. Despite these growing concerns, no official action was taken for quite some time. The Queen, in her final years, likely aimed to preserve family peace, while Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales, hesitated to escalate the situation amid the nation's recovery from the pandemic and the ongoing impacts of Brexit. However, after years of silence, the situation could no longer be ignored. In early 2024, pressure from both inside and outside the royal family became impossible to dismiss. The whisper network within Westminster had grown into a roar as members of Parliament began questioning royal spending and the legitimacy of succession rights. A small faction threatened to introduce a bill requiring DNA verification for royal heirs, especially those born or living outside the United Kingdom. At the same time, rumors about surrogacy agreements spread more widely. It was then that Kensington Palace finally took action, pushing for DNA testing, not from the king himself, but through the office of the Lord Chamberlain, in cooperation with the Royal Heritage and Protocol Oversight Council. The Royal Heritage and Protocol Oversight Council, though not widely known to the public, is a group of constitutional experts and historians charged with safeguarding the legitimacy of the royal lineage. Their authority goes beyond ceremonial roles. They enforce constitutional regulations, and their directives carry legal weight within the royal family structure. The DNA testing wasn't done in public labs or typical government channels. Instead, it was conducted discreetly by a research team working with a private genetic company based in Switzerland, specializing in father-child relationship analysis for high-profile clients. The most shocking part of the entire story lies in how the samples were obtained. One source claims the first sample was taken from a discarded toothbrush, allegedly belonging to Archie, at a private estate in Montecito, California. While the exact details remain unclear, there's speculation about whether an insider cooperated or if a private investigator was hired to secure it. The second sample, for Lilibet, reportedly came from a strand of hair found on a donated outfit sent to a charity auction in the United States. After comparing these samples to secure genetic data from the Windsor bloodline, the results revealed no genetic matches. Most notably, the absence of mitochondrial DNA and Y chromosome markers that trace the male Windsor lineage. The test results confirmed there was no genetic link between Archie, Lilibet, and the Windsor family. This revelation sparked a public uproar and triggered far-reaching legal and constitutional consequences, raising serious questions about succession rights and the future of the monarchy. The fallout not only tarnished the royal family's reputation but also ignited fierce debates about the legitimacy of inheritance and what truly happened during the births of the Sussex children. The report concluded with a sentence that has since echoed in whispered conversations throughout the halls of power. No biological relationship with any living member of the royal family can be established. Those who read it were reportedly stunned, some moved to tears, others sitting in stunned silence for several minutes. Several senior advisors to Prince William, including those closest to him, are said to have walked out of the room in frustration. The findings were not only devastating but also carried profound implications. This was not simply a case of parental confusion or missing paperwork. It was a betrayal of the institution itself. Royal children are more than family members. They are future heads of state, entitled to protection, recognition, and roles in ceremonial duties, inheritance of wealth, and historically significant financial privileges. The revelation that the two individuals publicly presented as royal heirs have no biological connection to the Windsor bloodline sent shockwaves through both the royal family and the nation. Once the test results were confirmed, a series of critical decisions had to be made. What would be done with this information? Who would be informed? And how far-reaching would the consequences be? The first to be notified was King Charles, who received the report in a private meeting at Clarence House. According to an assistant present, the king read the report slowly and asked only one question: "Are we absolutely certain about this result?" Afterwards, Prince William, the heir apparent, was also briefed. His concerns extended beyond legal matters to how the situation should be handled publicly to protect the integrity of the succession. Sources say William was not angry at the children, but rather at what he saw as deception by Harry and Meghan. William's first priority was to ensure that Archie and Lilibet would no longer be recognized in the line of succession. His second concern was managing how the announcement would be made to the public, carefully avoiding any scandal that could damage the monarchy. A week later, the information was shared with Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and a small group of constitutional lawyers in the Cabinet Office to begin drafting a legal framework that would allow Parliament to officially remove their titles without disrupting the royal family. However, the plan hit a snag. A second leak, this time from an international journalist connected to Swiss medical laboratories, threatened to expose the entire affair. Fearing a loss of control, the palace chose to release a carefully worded internal memo, confirming that an internal review of lineage records had prompted clarifications regarding the succession process. However, the statement does not explicitly address Meghan's or the children's DNA, though the implication is unmistakable to those following the story closely. The question is no longer whether Archie and Lilibet are royal. Science has settled that. The real question now is, what comes next? Will Parliament demand full disclosure? Will Harry and Meghan be compelled to respond publicly? Can the palace withstand this level of controversy without constitutional reform? Kensington remains resolute. No public retaliation, no accusations, just a strong, quiet assertion. The truth is known, and action will be taken. Throughout history, royal scandals have ranged from abdications to affairs, but this case may be the most serious yet, because this time, it's not just about love, loyalty, or legacy. It's about bloodline, the very foundation of who gets to wear the crown. While whispers of the story have long circulated in the shadows of high society, fueled by royal reporters' gossip and obscure online forums, the truth has only recently started to emerge into the light. The rumor that Meghan Markle may have used a surrogate to give birth to Archie Harrison, and possibly Lilibet Diana, was initially dismissed as an outrageous, baseless claim, often written off as prejudice. But behind palace walls, where appearances once took a back seat to control, those whispers began to turn into frantic, urgent questions. Now, with DNA test results shaking the very foundation of the monarchy, once disconnected pieces, the odd photos captured at strange moments, a mysteriously missing medical record, the secrecy around birth dates, begin to form a chillingly coherent picture. At the center of it all is a woman known only to a select few, whose silence has been secured by a tightly sealed legal agreement. The woman known only as JG is the surrogate who carried Archie Harrison to full term. What began as a confidential medical arrangement between specialists has since unfolded into one of the most startling royal revelations in recent history. According to exclusive documents reviewed by senior officials at Kensington Palace, JG was contacted in 2018 through a private US-based agency specializing in surrogacy services for high-profile clients. These agencies operate with extreme discretion, often employing former intelligence officers as coordinators, all to ensure the identities of everyone involved remain protected at all costs. JG is a healthy woman in her early 30s, with no history of childbirth complications, and was selected based on specific genetic and physical criteria. The documents she signed included a 20-year non-disclosure agreement, NDA, with criminal penalties for any violations. Reports suggest that the payment for her participation exceeded $750,000, divided into quarterly installments and transferred through foreign accounts tied to charitable funds associated with nonprofit organizations linked to the Sussexes. However, what shocked investigators wasn't just the financial scope of the arrangement, but the meticulous orchestration behind it, all designed with precision and care to maintain the secrecy and integrity of the arrangement. At first, JG was not informed of the exact identity of the intended parents. She was only told that the embryo came from extremely famous individuals who required the utmost privacy. A legal intermediary, a lawyer with experience working in both California and London, was appointed as the official point of contact between the parties. It wasn't until a private nurse accidentally referred to the child of His Royal Highness at the clinic that JG discovered the true identity of the parents. From that moment on, she says she was placed under a witness protection-like program to ensure her safety and confidentiality. She was relocated from her home in Arizona to a private estate in Utah, where a medical team provided around-the-clock monitoring. All of her communications were carefully screened and tracked. JG claims she never met Meghan Markle or Prince Harry in person until the final month of her pregnancy. And even then, their meeting was brief, formal, and carefully orchestrated. Meghan reportedly wore oversized sunglasses and a heavy coat indoors, avoiding any personal conversation. As her due date neared, JG was moved to a luxury birthing suite in Los Angeles, where the clinic was closed to the public on the day of delivery. A pseudonym was used on all hospital paperwork, and according to JG's testimony, Meghan and Harry were not present for the birth itself, only arriving several hours afterward. The story surrounding the surrogate pregnancy and the births of Archie Harrison and Lilibet Diana continues to fuel doubt and curiosity within the public. JG, the surrogate for Archie, has lived under strict control, facing isolation, signing confidentiality agreements, and receiving substantial payments to keep quiet. But when documents related to the surrogacy were leaked and questions arose about Archie's biological origins, tensions began to mount both within the royal family and among the public. Details about financial agreements, confidentiality contracts, and the strict measures taken to protect privacy have raised serious questions about the legality and transparency surrounding the royal family's handling of these events. The story of JG, along with the emergence of documents confirming the surrogacy, supports what many have long suspected, that Archie may not be the biological child of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. If true, this could represent a major breach of legal regulations concerning royal lineage and identity. The changing tone of media coverage and royal commentators has only deepened public skepticism. Reports of surveillance, the lack of authentic family interactions, and alterations to birth-related documents have sparked outrage and demands for the truth. Yet, every effort to shed light on the matter has been met with silence and secrecy, further fueling concerns about transparency on critical issues like royal lineage and succession. This has also triggered a wave of doubt within royal circles, as former aides and palace staff have started speaking out about the unusual treatment of the Sussex children. The carefully staged photos, the silence around personal matters, and the lack of authentic family moments have left the public with many unanswered questions. Although the surrogacy document leak doesn't reveal every detail, it has been enough to cast light on long-standing doubts about whether Archie and Lilibet are truly the biological children of Meghan and Harry. While the story has yet to receive official acknowledgement and any changes in handling the situation remain uncertain, the truth now confronting both the public and the palace could fundamentally reshape how the royal family is perceived and managed going forward. The revelation that Meghan Markle is not the biological mother of Archie and Lilibet has dealt a significant blow to her public image. Theories about surrogacy, once dismissed, are now being taken seriously and carry potential legal implications. This not only puts Meghan's standing within the royal family at risk, but also raises critical questions about inheritance rights and legal accountability in the registration and verification of royal lineage. The public events involving Archie and Lilibet have sparked intense scrutiny from both the media and the public, casting a shadow of doubt. Photos from official ceremonies and the children's appearances have drawn attention, not only because of the strict control exercised by the royal family, but also due to the children's unusual behavior and movements. These observations have fueled questions about the authenticity of the children, prompting concerns over whether they are truly the biological offspring of Meghan and Harry. The so-called doll theory, proposed to explain the unusual aspects of public appearances, suggests that Meghan and Harry may have used reborn dolls as stand-ins for their children during photo shoots and events. Photos and videos capturing rare moments with Archie and Lilibet have fueled considerable skepticism, especially since the children often lack the natural movements and reactions typically seen in infants. Photos and videos of Archie, especially in public settings, have led pediatric behavior experts to question the naturalness of his movements. Medical professionals have noted that Archie's actions in these images seem unusual, fueling doubts about the authenticity of the public appearances involving Meghan and Harry's children. Since Lilibet Diana's introduction, the lack of clear images and unusual details in the photos have fueled theories that Meghan and Harry may have used reborn dolls or digital effects. Royal photographers and experts have started questioning the authenticity of these children, suggesting that the images might be carefully staged or digitally altered. The unusual treatment and appearances of the Sussex children have caused many to question their authenticity. Former staff members, including nannies and service personnel, have disclosed that they were never allowed unrestricted access to the children and were given strict guidelines on how to interact with them. Footage from the Sussexes' Netflix documentaries has done little to dispel doubts, instead fueling further skepticism. The use of dolls or child stand-ins raises not only ethical questions but also concerns about the psychological impact on the Sussex family. Some see it as a way to shield the family's privacy from intense media scrutiny, while skeptics regard it as a serious deception, particularly given the implications for royal titles and succession. Advancements in digital imaging technology and artificial intelligence have blurred the line between reality and illusion. AI tools can effortlessly mask imperfections and conceal inconsistencies in images of the children, making it harder to verify their authenticity. These technologies produce hyper-realistic visuals that can convince viewers the children are real, when in fact, they may be digitally manipulated creations. The ambiguity surrounding the public presentation of the Sussex children, coupled with the reborn doll theory, continues to fuel public speculation. Questionable images, like one showing Archie with a noticeable seam on his wrist, have intensified suspicions about the use of dolls or digital effects. The Sussexes' denials have done little to quell the growing doubts among both the public and the palace, intensifying the debate over royal lineage and the authenticity of the royal children. The revelations about the use of dolls and DNA testing, along with irregularities in birth documents, have added to a growing mosaic of secrecy surrounding the Sussex family. This ambiguity not only casts doubt on the Sussex children but also raises important questions about the monarchy's evolution in the 21st century, an era where image, media control, and carefully managed narratives play an ever-increasing role. As the Sussexes build a powerful personal brand and media empire, their strategy has become increasingly evident through their partnership with Netflix. Yet, despite controlling their own narrative, they are paying a price for this level of protection. Their story is shaped through documentaries and TV shows where the family withholds secrets about their children and carefully crafts a royal image that fits their personal ambitions. This approach not only fuels skepticism about authenticity but also raises concerns about potential public deception. The Sussexes' reluctance to publicly share images of their children has become a key part of their brand-building strategy. The 2022 television series Heart of the Family offered glimpses into their family life but deliberately avoided clear visuals of the children. This suggests that the Sussexes remain intent on tightly controlling their family narrative and shielding their children from public scrutiny, even if that means keeping their true images hidden. The strict protocols governing the filming and presentation of the Sussex children have only deepened doubts about the authenticity of the family's images. The use of stand-ins, shadows, and extensive post-production has crafted a carefully edited reality that blurs the line between truth and fiction. This level of control fuels the reborn doll theory, as the couple shapes a flawless modern royal family image while keeping intimate details tightly under wraps. The Sussex family's collaboration with Netflix goes beyond brand building. It's part of a long-term strategy to sustain their global presence and influence. Family-oriented programming, including content aimed at children, plays a key role in shaping and reinforcing the Sussex legacy. However, this approach raises questions about the authenticity of the image they present and whether the couple is leveraging the public to maintain the value of their brand. Although the Sussexes maintain creative control over their projects, internal tensions within Netflix have started to surface, especially regarding transparency in the portrayal of their children. Debates over inconsistencies in the Sussex family narrative have sparked concerns that if their brand is revealed as a carefully constructed facade, it could seriously damage the reputation and public acceptance of this modern royal family. Although Meghan publicly emphasizes her role as a loving and devoted mother, the images and content released through Netflix don't fully support this portrayal. These media productions create a disconnect between public statements and reality, as the narrative around their family and children grows harder to manage, fueling doubts about the authenticity of the image the Sussexes are trying to build. The Sussexes' struggle to safeguard their privacy has put a strain on their relationship with the public. Polls reveal a drop in empathy, especially among traditional royal supporters. The modern royal family image the Sussexes have crafted is increasingly seen not as authentic but as a commercial venture. This shift undermines public trust and threatens the family's credibility in the eyes of future royal generations. For Kensington Palace, the Sussexes' brand-building efforts through Netflix offer a chance to distinguish their image from the official royal family. However, this strategy is a double-edged sword. It risks diminishing credibility and further complicating the relationship between the Sussexes and the traditional royals. Questions about the authenticity of this brand are increasingly being raised by both the public and the media. The Sussex family's use of media platforms to build their brand has increasingly framed them as an entertainment family rather than traditional members of the monarchy. Ongoing controversies surrounding the truth about their children, including revelations about DNA and surrogacy, have kept the public and media skeptical. This places the Sussexes in a difficult position, as they face sharp criticism for turning their personal story into a media spectacle. The crisis surrounding the Sussexes goes beyond questions about their lineage. It threatens to engulf the entire monarchy in a media firestorm. The palace has voiced frustration that the Sussex family is using their media platform to shield an increasingly complicated narrative. Allegations of fabrication and deception not only erode public trust in the Sussexes, but also raise serious concerns about transparency in managing the royal family's image. With media deals like the one with Netflix, the UK Parliament is set to engage in lively debates over their impact on the monarchy. Lawmakers hold differing opinions on the control of royal titles and the commercialization of royal imagery. Some call for greater transparency in how royal images are used, while others argue that the monarchy must adapt to fit modern media platforms. Netflix and the Sussexes' media empire are not just elements of their personal strategy. They lie at the heart of the royal crisis. The fusion of traditional lineage and modern celebrity culture creates a compelling narrative, but one fraught with controversy. While the power of storytelling and the Sussex family's public image can craft the illusion of a perfect family, it also places the monarchy in a challenging position when it comes to maintaining public trust and transparency. Wow, what a bombshell from King Charles! The truth about Archie and Lilibet's identity has finally come out, shaking up everything we thought we knew. What's your take on this royal drama? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's get the conversation started. If you're as shocked as we are, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more jaw-dropping royal updates. Hit the bell so you never miss a video, and check out our other content for exclusive insights. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.